Okay, let's discuss this further. With me is BBC Health reporter Katie Silver. Katie, I mean, the first thing we do when we're ill is get online and self-diagnose, but cancer is something so serious.
You're so right. So with cancer, what they've found is people go in, the doctor says, as soon as the doctor says cancer, they shut down, they stop listening. So the doctor might be talking about prognosis, treatment. That's a blur. They get home, they talk to their families. That night, they go online. And what they find is really confronting. So 6% of people who go online who have been diagnosed with cancer then believe they're going to die. So it's so hard to disambiguate what's right, what's not right. There's so many things out there telling you one thing or the other.
So tell us about some of this, so-called fake news and some of these myths. I mean, what are they?
Okay, so one of the first ones is sugar. So there's an idea online that says basically sugar can cause cancer. Now, while it's true that cancer cells and every cell in the body needs sugar, the body doesn't pick and choose. So whilst a healthy diet is very important, it's not like sugar is a direct link to cancer. The other one is cancer is a disease for old people. That's the only people it affects. Now, that's not true. So while half of the people who are diagnosed with cancer are over 70, we all know, everybody has heard of the horror stories of young children who get it. And actually, people who are aged under 25, that's where the highest growth is occurring in incidence. This one's kind of a fun one, and this has persisted since the 1970s, and that's that sharks might help cure cancer.
So bizarre, isn't
it bizarre?
Yeah.
So basically what happened is in the 1970s, they gave sharks these carcinogens and no tumours developed. So the thought was sharks don't get cancer. So maybe we can use their cartilage to sort of halt the spread of cancer cells in their path. 3 studies have found that doesn't work, and sharks since have been found to have melanoma, so they do get cancer after all of that.
Right.
And then the last one is that it's a modern disease and it's based on our bad diet today, but again, this is in fact completely counterfactual. So an Egyptian mummy, for example, was found, 2,500-year-old Egyptian mummy was found to have cancer. And they also found a fossil that's 1.7 million years old, and it was of the foot, and they had cancer in the toe. So it's not
Wow.
something.
It's not restricted to.
It's been here a long time.
The modern sort of illness. So you've met this nurse. I mean, is it working? Is it enough?
I think it's actually a really good scheme. I mean, as we say, people are going online, and even if the doctor says don't go online, get trusted medical advice, people are still doing it. So it's I think this charity is actually sticking with the times. They're doing Facebook Lives where people with cancer can write in and ask questions, chat rooms, and they're trying to advise about what are the good sites and what are the bad sites to avoid.
Because there's so much out there.
There's so much out there. So they sort of say, American Cancer Society, in the end, we have the NHS here in the UK, Cancer Research UK. So they're trying to make, make the correct information, make it clear what we should be following.
And then just briefly, should tech companies be involved as well in this, trying to get rid of some of this stuff?
Well, it's a really good idea. Just like we saw with this whole conversation around fake news, tech companies could play a role. They could potentially say which sites are more reliable and which aren't, but that's food for thought. We'll see what happens.